The Basement Tenant, a novel, written by L.Z. Sinclaire, narrated by L.Z. Sinclaire. The first night was nothing. She heard him come in at 3 a.m. through the side entrance, the click of the lock, the careful close of the door, his footsteps descending the interior stairs to the basement. He moved quietly, but not silently. She could track his path through the unit by the settling of the old floorboards, a creak by the bathroom, the groan of the bed frame, then nothing. She lay in her room on the third floor, staring at the ceiling, and told herself this was fine. This was a financial decision. This was a stranger living in her basement, and that was normal. That was what people did. That was urban living in a city where the distance between solvency and ruin was the width of a lease agreement. She slept. In the morning, she made coffee and checked her phone. A text from Derek. "Miles says he left his math workbook at your place. I need it by Tuesday." No greeting, no sign-off, the controlled hostility of a man who communicated exclusively through logistics. She found the workbook on Miles' desk in his room, the room she kept exactly as he liked it, Spider-Man sheets and all, even on the nights he wasn't there, because an empty child's room that still looks lived in is both a comfort and a specific kind of torture. The next day, Saturday, Elias moved in. She watched from the kitchen window, pretending to wash dishes she'd already washed. He arrived at noon in a rideshare. No moving truck, no friends with a dolly, no cardboard boxes labeled in Sharpie. Just Elias, with 2 suitcases and a medical bag, climbing out of a Camry on Belden Avenue as if he were arriving at a hotel for a stay he expected to be brief. She'd offered to help. He declined by text. 3 words. "I'm fine, thanks." The period after thanks had the finality of a closed door. She heard him through the floor. The suitcases set down, the closet opened and closed, the bed tested once with a creak of springs, the sounds of a man unpacking a life that could fit in 2 bags. Within an hour, the basement was silent. He was either asleep or sitting in the dark, and both possibilities unnerved her for reasons she couldn't articulate and didn't try. Miles arrived Friday afternoon, dropped off by Derek's driver. He was small for 8, with Carrie's green eyes and Derek's jawline, a face that made strangers do the math and then pretend they hadn't. He wore his Linden Academy uniform, navy blazer, gray slacks, a tie he'd already loosened. He looked like a tiny, exhausted executive. "Hey, Bug." "Hey, Mom." He hugged her with the full body commitment of a child who still believed hugging could fix things, and Carrie held him and breathed into his hair and thought, this is why the house. This is why the mortgage. This is why all of it. They were hanging up his coat when the side door opened, the gangway entrance to the basement, and Elias appeared at the end of the hallway, heading out. He was in the dark coat, the medical bag over his shoulder, and he stopped when he saw them. "Sorry," he said. "I didn't realize." "Elias, this is Miles, my son." She put her hand on Miles' shoulder, a gesture that was half introduction, half claim. Miles looked up at Elias with the frank, unarmored appraisal of a child. No social calculation, no threat assessment, just the raw curiosity of a person who hadn't learned that looking too closely at someone was a form of trespass. "Are you the one who lives downstairs?" "I am." "My dad's taller than you." Carrie's hand tightened on his shoulder. "Miles!" But Elias laughed.
A real laugh, short, surprised, the kind that escaped before the composure could catch it. He crouched down, bringing himself to Miles's eye level, and Carrie felt something shift in the hallway, some molecular rearrangement she couldn't name but could feel in the air. He probably is. What else should I know?
Miles considered this with the gravity of a Supreme Court justice. The Wi-Fi is bad in the basement, and there's a spider by the dryer. It's not dangerous. I looked it up. Appreciate it. Elias stood. His eyes moved to Carrie, and in them she saw something she hadn't expected. Tenderness. Not for her, for the boy. The unguarded, instinctive softness of a person who understood what it was to be small in a large house and who recognized in Miles something that required gentleness. "Have a good night," Elias said, and was gone. Miles watched him go. Then he turned to Carrie. "He seems nice. He's our tenant. We don't really know him. You can know someone's nice before you know them." She couldn't argue with that. She wasn't sure she wanted to. They made pasta. They watched a movie, his choice, something animated with a talking dog. He fell asleep on the couch and she carried him to bed, which was getting harder. He was growing in the sudden, alarming way children grow, as if the body were trying to outrun the childhood. She went to bed. She took her Ambien. She slept. At 6:47 a.m., she woke to Miles standing in the kitchen doorway in his pajamas, holding a glass of orange juice, looking at her with the expression of a child who has a question he isn't sure he should ask. "Mom?" "Yeah, Bug? Who was the lady singing last night?" Carrie set her coffee down. "What?" "I heard a lady singing down there." He pointed at the floor. "At the basement." "That's just our new tenant, sweetheart. He probably had music on." "It wasn't music." Miles sipped his juice. "It was singing, like a person singing, but quiet, like she didn't want anyone to hear." Carrie looked at her son. He looked back at her with Derek's steady gaze and her own capacity for noticing things that would be easier not to notice. "I'm sure it was nothing," she said. Miles went back to his cereal. Carrie stared at the basement door. The house sailed around them, the old bones of it shifting in the January cold, and somewhere below the kitchen floor, in the space she had just rented to a stranger, something was quiet in a way that felt like listening. The end. You have been listening to The Basement Tenant, written by L.V. Sinclaire, narrated by L.Z. Sinclaire. Thank you for listening.